greet all of us across different chapters, across different spaces. I really want to greet us. May Almighty God continue to be with us today, because today, as I said, promises to be interesting and promises to be educating. And today we are talking about an important topic. Is revolution possible in a country like Nigeria? Can we have a Nepal situation in Nigeria? Is it possible to have a Nepal situation? Is it feasible? The question we have to ask ourselves is, what is revolution? Revolution is any activity. Revolution is any political process that changes the status quo within a political framework. A revolution might be bloody and a revolution might not be bloody. But if we go throughout the world, there have been different revolutions. We have cases, we have examples of the French Revolution, the most popular one, the Haitian Revolution, the American Revolution, the Zanzibar Revolution, even though some people call the first coup, the 1966 coup, led by Ife Ajuna and Kaduna Iziogu, they call it the first revolution in Nigeria. So we need to ask ourselves this question: has revolution always solved any problem in the world? Oftentimes, the reason why many people engage in revolution is because they believe that there is corruption, there is injustice, there is revolution is always premised on when there is social injustice within a system. A revolution is seen as a form of when some people, the oppressed, is fighting the oppressors. For instance, the American Revolution was white settlers, white colonists, white Europeans fighting the British Empire in order to get their freedom. So that is how we have an example of the Haitian Revolution. In the case of the Haitian Revolution, you have a case of enslaved Black people from West Africa banding together and fighting and taking inspiration from the French Revolution in order to fight and defeat the French Empire, which was led by Napoleon Bonaparte. So these are examples of revolution. But oftentimes, many people do not take notes of how can revolution happen? What is the commonality of revolution? What makes revolution successful? If you go through history, for the past 1,000 year history, 1,000 years of the history of humanity, one thing is very certain: there has been different uprising. If an uprising is successful, it becomes a revolution. I want to give another example. The uprising, the killings, the uprising of Fulanis to taking over the Sabe kingdoms of the Hausas is called by many scholars a form of revolution, where the governance structure of the Hausa people was transformed from a secular system based on Hausa civilization into an Islamic, Afro-Asiatic, Fulani-ruled Islamic civilization that changed the balance of power, not just in that area of West Africa, throughout the sub-Saharan Africa. So this is the definition of revolution. We also, for the past 20 years, there has been different revolution across the world. And I will start giving examples. A good example was the revolution, was the Arab Spring, which led to the overthrow of many long-time dictators and even the killings of many leaders in the Arab world. Example was the killing of the strongman of Libya, Muammar Gaddafi. Those are examples of revolution that took place just few years ago. But oftentimes, as we can all see through history, revolution only changes the people in power. Nothing actually changes. And if you look at the French Revolution, in the French Revolution, which led to the abrogation, destruction of the French monarchy. What happened? People complained because of the price of bread. And that was where things like all men are born equal, chapters of human rights came up, where people believed that people should be treated the same. This is a situation of things as regards to French, as regards to revolution. But what happened? Immediately the French, the dynasty of the Charles, of the French emperors, which was built on Catholicism, was destroyed. Another aristocracy was built, which was more expansionist, more deadly, which became a threat to the entire Europe, and which led to wars across all Europe. The French Revolution, it led to the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte. The question is, did France actually evolve to be a full republic? The answer is no. After the French Revolution, not just that the French Revolution happened and the family of the king and the queens and the queen were killed. Most of the intellectuals that led the French Revolution were also guillotined by the mobs, who became uncontrollable. This was the vacuum that was needed for Napoleon Bonaparte to emerge. And because Napoleon Bonaparte emerged, what happened? It led to the destruction of even the small freedom they had. It took young men and boys of France, took them to war. And hundreds of thousands of French people lost their lives. For French nationalists, they still see Napoleon as a role model because Napoleon brought glory and greatness to the French people. Now, let's study what are the ingredients for revolution to happen. Because many people have called for revolution in Nigeria. And there's a reason why revolution might not happen in Nigeria. Revolution needs a degree of homogeneity. People that are going to fight for things to upturn the status quo needs to have a degree of homogeneity before revolution can take place. If you look at France was a majority, it was linguistically homogeneous. Majority of the people of France were French speaker, even though we had other people speaking other languages like in Corsica during the time of the French Revolution. But majority of the people who were involved in the French Revolution were mostly linguistically homogeneous. Also, the French Empire, France, was also religiously sectarian, homogeneous. In fact, in terms of sectarianism, it was homogeneous. France was a Catholic country. So in terms of it was religiously homogeneous, linguistically homogeneous, even the majority of the people in France were ethnically, they identified as French. So it is very, very easy for people to band together and be able to fight. If you look at the case of the Haitian Revolution, people had the commonality of pan-Blackism. Everybody was enslaved. They were able to band together using the trauma of slavery. Not only that, what the spirituality that championed the Haitian Revolution was voodoo. was, in fact, Dessalines, Louverture, the leaders of the Haitian Revolution. Many of them were Ogun worshippers, the god of war of the Yoruba people. So they had this spirituality in terms of commonality to be able to fight, to be able to defend, to be able to pursue the same goal and objective. This was what happened during the time of the French Revolution, or during the time of the Haitian Revolution. Let's also look at the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring took place in Libya, in Tunisia. It took place in Egypt. It took place in Syria. It took place in many countries across the Middle East and in North Africa. But if we observe, most of these countries are also religiously homogeneous, linguistically homogeneous, and many of them are Arab majority countries. There's an ethnicity that has an outright majority. So they can plan a revolution. That is how you need that level of homogeneity for revolution to happen. Let's also look at the Russian Revolution. There's a reason why I'm using different historical examples, so that our young men and women will not be incited to commit what I call political harakiri, suicide, by merchants of chaos who are not knowledgeable about history, who do not understand the reality of the world and the reality of geopolitics. The dangers of social media is that people that are not qualified to talk, that are not qualified to have opinions on sensitive issues, can also call themselves activists. Because the term activist, the term human rights activism in Nigeria has been bastardized. Because what exactly is your ideology? The majority of those who call themselves revolutionaries in Nigeria are actually reactionaries. So we need to understand where we are coming from and where we are going, and why revolution is almost impossible in Nigeria. So if you look at the Sudanese revolution that just happened a few years ago, where young people also came up and said, oh, they are fighting dictatorship, Omar al-Bashir must go, they need to bring in democracy. What happened? They overthrew Omar al-Bashir. It was mostly led by Sudanese youth. And 60 to 70% of Sudan, North Sudan, because South Sudan already left, seceded from North Sudan, were majorly Arabs and Arab-speaking or Arabized people. So there's also a level of homogeneity. I was trying to talk about Russia, talking about the Bolshevik Revolution that gave rise to the right, that destroyed the Tsars, the family of the ruling kings from the Romanovs of Russia, of the Russian Empire. So what Russia or the Russian Empire was 60 to 70% ethnically homogeneous. It was linguistically homogeneous. The language of the empire was Russian. So there was a level of homogeneity that was in Russia for this to happen, for this kind of revolution to be able to take place. And they are religiously homogeneous. 70 to 80% of the people of the Russian Empire were practicing Orthodox Christianity. So these are the reality. These are the fundamentals that are needed for a revolution to take place. If anybody tries to orchestrate a revolution in a fractured country like Nigeria, you are going to give rise to brutal chaos, because the brutal revolution of 1966 gave rise to Nigerian Civil War of 1967 to 1970. This is why we need to know our history. This is why we need to know where we're coming from. Because if we do not understand our history, we are going to be making great mistakes that are going to consume the rest of us. So, we are now going to talk about Nepal. A lot of things have happened in Nepal for the past few weeks or few days. And some people have been trying to make correlation, have been trying to incite youth, are trying to recreate the EndSARS. If EndSARS actually happened in a homogeneous country, they would have succeeded. They might have succeeded in creating a revolution in Nigeria. But Nigeria is not homogeneous. And I'm going to give two examples. What was the reason for the EndSARS? The EndSARS, those that actually did the EndSARS, many of the people that did the EndSARS, they actually felt they were fighting against an unjust system. That why should the Nigerian policing system that was supposed to defend and protect them, why were the Nigerian police not protecting and serving them, but instead harassing and killing young men and boys? And once the system was not listening, they believed in the term, called voxi populi voxi Dei, the voice of the people is the voice of God. And they went on to start rampage. Started from Delta till it landed in Lagos, which became the epicenter of the struggle. But can anybody show me where EndSARS was also as popular in Kano, in Katsina, in Sokoto, in Kano, in Borno, in Nasarawa? It wasn't. Because most of the victims of EndSARS were Southerners. So mostly people in the Southwest, mostly people in the South-South, and some parts of the Southeast. Even the EndSARS protest was not that big, huge, was not a success in the Southeast. It was mostly in the Southwest and the South-South, because they were the most affected. So it was more of a Southern affairs, because the EndSARS was during the time of President Muhammadu Buhari, and many Northerners, especially Arewa apologists and Arewa nationalists, they believed that the EndSARS was sponsored in order to overthrow their fellow Fulani from power. So they refused to join because they were more interested in a Northerner and an Arewa man in the person of late President Buhari completing his 8 years than any form of revolution that some people are trying to paint. And if we, to be honest, even though some people actually sincerely thought they were fighting for the human right, fighting for humanity, we found out that within a coup, there's a coup, there's another coup. Within a caucus, there's another caucus. Some people wanted to use it as a launching pad for an Igbo presidency, because the EndSARS collapsed into the Obedient movement, which became an Igbo project, a nationalist cause. This is why revolutions sometimes are very, very dangerous, because you can be used for another people's agenda. You can be used to further the agenda of other people. This is the danger of revolution. This is why revolution is a very, very dangerous agenda. This is why revolution sometimes creates a bloody century, creates bloody atmosphere. I will talk about the Bolshevik Revolution and the Iranian Revolution that destroyed the Shah dynasty and gave rise to the Ayatollah in Iran. In the Bolshevik Revolution, they say, oh, communism, we want to destroy aristocracy, all men are born equal, egalitarianism, and all the rest. Karl Marx, all this Karl Marx theory of the 19th century. But what happened? What finally happened was that it gave rise to outright dictators, ruthless dictators like Stalin, like Lenin, who used brutal methods to suppress minorities, eradicate many ethnic nationalities. For instance, there's something called the Holodomor. The Holodomor was a social issue that happened in eastern Ukraine, where famine and other brutal military tactics was used to cleanse indigenous people, especially ethnic Ukrainians from eastern Ukraine. That was how eastern Ukraine, that Russia is currently claiming, became Russian majority. Because the Holodomor, where famine, food shortage was another tactics, scorched to heart tactics was used to cleanse millions of Ukrainians. Millions of Ukrainians lost their lives in eastern Ukraine. And this was committed by a group who in previous years were talking about egalitarianism. So this is the reality that we currently find ourselves. I want to talk about the Iranian Revolution. You see, Iran was one of the most secular countries in the world. And in the 60s, in the 50s, in the 70s. If you go and look at pictures, videos coming out of Iran in the 50s and in the 60s, you are going to realize that the settings that Iran was nothing but a westernized country in the Middle East. They were so proud of their secularism. Christians could be Christians in Iran. They call it Persia then. Sunni Muslims could be Sunni Muslims. Kurds could be Kurds. Armenians could be Armenians. Jews could be Jews. That was how Iran was. But there were also other agenda. The agenda started with, oh, the Shah of Iran was corrupt. I've studied history for the past 1,000 years. 1,000 years of human history. And I've also always observed that every successor trying to take over from a predecessor through a revolutionary means is always complaining that, oh, their predecessors are corrupt. Let me give you an instance. Go and look at all the coup d'etat in Nigeria. The January 1966 coup, the coup and the counter coup. Go and look at the coup that overthrew Yakubu Gowon and brought in Muritala Muhammad. Go and look at the coup that brought in Buhari and overthrew Shagari. Go and look at the coup that brought in Babangida. Go and look at the coup that brought in Shonekon. Go and look at the coup that brought in Abacha. Go and look at the coup that brought in Abdul Salam. This is almost 50 years of Nigerian history that I'm trying to pack. Go and look at the coup that brought in. Go and look at, when Obasanjo took over in 1999. Go and look at when Jonathan had no shoes. When he also took over in 2009. Go and look at when Yar'Adua also took over from Obasanjo. Go and look at when Buhari came back and also took over from Jonathan. Everybody was talking about, oh, we are going to stop corruption. Oh, we are fighting corruption. And this thing has been working consistently for the past 60 years in Nigeria. Everybody, that line, as stale as it is, it works everywhere in the world, from Russia to Germany, from Germany to Austrian Empire. In different centuries, there is always somebody saying, we are coming to come and change things. We want to stop corruption. It is because our society is a politically illiterate society. Pardon me for being that blunt. To be politically illiterate is not insulting. It is just because we don't study history. We don't understand politics. Yet we are talking about revolution. And how do you make revolution work? And what are the things that are needed for revolution to succeed? I was talking about the Iranian Revolution. The people, the brains, the intellectuals that organized the Iranian revolutions were the neoliberals. It was the youth that organized the Iranian revolution. The liberals, the atheists, the agnostics, the philosophers. But while they were doing the shouting, the Shiites, the Ayatollahs, the radicals were positioning themselves to hijack the entire revolution. I told you how the French Revolution was hijacked. It was hijacked. The Iranian Revolution was hijacked. And immediately, that the radicals, the two religious fanatics, they took over Iran. The first thing they first did was to declare war on the liberals, mostly students. And that was why some of us understood the End SARS movement. We understood the obedient movement. And that was what happened in the 1966 revolution, bloody revolution, led by Ifeanyi Jr. And that's why some people said that coup was an Igbo coup. That even though some overzealous elements had real intentions, one ethnicity was able to use it for further their own expansionist and dominating agenda within Nigeria. That's the reality. And that is why emotions must not be applied in geopolitics. That is why emotions must not be applied in nationalism. That is why we need to understand history. We need to be organized. And if you look at Iran, Iran is a majority Shiite country, and one ethnicity is the majority. So the Ayatollah was able to consolidate power because of this reason. Let's also talk about, we now want to talk about Nepal. For the past few minutes or 30 minutes, I've been able to talk about briefly the Haitian Revolution, the Russian Revolution, the Iranian Revolution, the Arab Spring, Sudan Revolution. I even spoke about the American Revolution. So because of this reason, you have to understand, like I know many of you now understand why, what you need for revolution to take place, and why anybody telling you about revolution now in Nigeria is nothing, is wasting your time. So many people are saying, oh, you see what is happening in Kenya, you see what is happening in Nepal. Now, let me give you a brief history of Nepal. There is a dearth of logical reasoning in our social media space. The trauma of our people have been weaponized. And our Gen Zs are easily triggered because some people have been able to convince them that chaos is the easiest way to settle issues. But that is why people like us are here, to be able to set the record straight and to ensure that we do not have anarchy on our hands. Nepal is a country in Asia that has border with China, border very close to Bhutan, border with India. Nepal is apart from India, Nepal is one of the Hindu majority countries in the world. Nepal is 81% Hindu. So when it comes to homogeneity, Nepal is 81% Hindu. I'm not going back and going to 1,000 years of trying to talk about the history of Nepal for 1,000, 6,000 years, how the different migrations took place, Indo-European, Indo-Asian, different people coming from South China to also settle in Nepal. And now the Kathmandu Valley, that is not what I'm doing. I'm going to give you basic facts and try as much as possible within the limited period of time that I have to be able to juxtapose why what happened in Nepal was successful and why we cannot try such in Nigeria. Nepal, like I said, is an Hindu majority country. So everybody is one religion. And Hindu is not just a religion. Hindu is also a form of ethno-religious identity. Some religions are like that. Example is Judaism. Example is Druze religion. They are found in Syria, and some are found in Israel. Another example of ethno-religious identity is also Yoruba. Yoruba also is a form of ethno-religious identity. Most people who practice the Yoruba religion end up becoming Yoruba themselves. It's just like Judaism. That's what Hinduism is all about. So, and 81% of the people of Nepal are Hindu. Nepal also has a majority spoken language. The official language of Nepal is Nepali. More than 80% of the people of Nepal speak the same language. I'm not talking about English. They're not here to promote colonialism, but they speak an indigenous South Asian language called Nepali. So they are united in faith, united ethno-religiously, and they are also united in linguistically. For those of you that understand the Bible, when some people came together and said they wanted to build something that would go into the heavens, they were united to achieve this feat. This feat. To stop them, their language was scattered. And immediately their language was scattered, they could not achieve this goal and objective. So they are united in language. And there is also a majority ethnicity. There is a majority ethnicity that has one way or the other absorbed smaller ethnicity into them in Nepal. And that ethnicity is called caste Arya. Caste Arya. And they are mostly Hindus. So what you have, we can tentatively say from these few points of mine that Nepal is a homogeneous country. To have a homogeneous country, there must be an outright majority. There has to be an outright majority. So when people say, oh, the country is multi-ethnic, oh, China is multi-ethnic, that is a disingenuous intellectual argument and rhetoric. You have a country, and out of 100%, 75 to 80% belongs to one ethnicity. Or you look at the case of Indonesia, which is majority Muslim. But Indonesia has one thing. 50% of the population are Java. They belong to the Java ethnicity. So without ethnicity, can single-handedly determine the political future, the political landscape, the geopolitical future, the geopolitical landscape of Indonesia. So there's a form of political stability. They can organize revolution when needs be. They can do revolution when they need to do. They can fight when they need to do. So that was the case in Nepal. And Nepal is one of the least urbanized countries in the world. Many people are in the villages. Almost 70% of Nepal, many people live in small towns and villages. Most people live in just one city, Kathmandu, which is the political, spiritual, and economic powerhouse of Nepal. So anything that happens in Kathmandu affects the entire Nepal. But you look at the case of Nigeria, what happens in Kano cannot affect us in Abuja. What happens in Abuja does not affect us in Port Harcourt. What happens in Port Harcourt doesn't affect us in Lagos. What happens in Ibadan does not even affect those in Ilorin. What happens in Akure does not affect those in Jos. These are cities where you have close to 5 million people in population. Lagos, Kano, as a city state, is close to 15 million people. Abuja has over 10 million people. Lagos has over 20 million people. Port Harcourt, another almost 15 million people. Uyo, close to another 8-10 million. You know, these are cities. And now let's not even talk about the ethnicity. There is no clear majority in Nigeria in terms of ethnic domination or linguistic domination. And we also have trans-continental and trans-national ethnicities in Nigeria. What do I mean? We have Yoruba across Nigeria, in Benin Republic, in Togo, in Ghana, in Cote d'Ivoire, in Sierra Leone, in Gambia, in Senegal, in Burkina Faso. That's a transcontinental ethnicity. Another good example are the Fulanis. They are found in Gambia, Senegal, Niger, Chad, Guinea-Bissau, Senegal, Gambia, even Sudan. They are in Cameroon. They are a trans-national ethnicity. You also have the Fulani, the Kanuris. They are found in Chad. They are found in Nigeria. They are found in Cameroon. You have the Hausas found in Niger, Benin Republic, Burkina Faso, in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Sudan. They are trans-border people. So that's one of the first problems. Now, religion. Nigeria is not a Muslim-dominated country. Christianity is as powerful as Islam in Nigeria. There are some places in Nigeria where Islam as an identity is greater than ethnicity, especially in the south, in the northwest. And there are some places in Nigeria where Christianity is greater than ethnicity. Those places are in the middle belt and the south-south, because it has given them a rallying point to be able to band together politically and economically and socially to survive the politics and geopolitics of Nigeria. Population-wise, there is no clear majority in Nigeria. You see, one ethnicity is 26%, another one is 25%, another one is 20%, then others are 6%, 5%, 8%. That is chaos. Those kind of a country, you don't plan revolution. You are going to have a civil war. Because our reality is different. What we want is different. What exactly do we want? Apart from the fact that say, oh, Nigeria is not good, let us go deeper. The Igbo man and the Yoruba man, we do not have the same aspirations within Nigeria. What is the mindset of a Fulani nationalist as regards to what Nigeria should be? Some people believe that Nigeria should be a theocratic country, not a democratic country. They believe Nigeria should be a country ruled by Sharia law. That's what they think. You can't blame them for it, because for the past 1, 2, 300, 400, 500, 600 years, that is the civilization they've been using before colonialism destroyed and dissolved all these empires and kingdoms and caliphates and city-states and brought all of us together to create Nigeria. What about the Igbo? They believe they can go, they want to have unfettered access to all the states, people, land in Nigeria and be installing their OB, Eze, and all the rest and be competing with the indigenous people because it is one Nigeria. You cannot blame them. That is their own worldview. They even believe that they need access to the sea. They want access to the sea. The federal government must just carve away and give them a port. Even though the Southeast does not have any natural ocean, but they believe they must get it by hook or crook. Can't blame them. Because out of the 3 geopolitical regions in the South, the Southwest, the South-South, and the Southeast, they are the only landlocked officially within Nigeria. What they have is only a river port. And there's nothing wrong in having dreams. Ethiopia has been fighting now for the past 20 years, looking for access to the sea, because Eritrea, after Eritrea seceded, Eritrea turned Ethiopia into a landlocked country. And access to the Red Sea, which is one of the most profitable sea access in the world, could have transformed Ethiopia into a superpower in East Africa. I don't know how. So when Igbos say they need access to the Atlantic Ocean at all costs, you have to understand that he who controls the access to the sea will control the economic power. That was what has given the Southwest the edge. The South-South could have had the edge, but they cannot, because they are not homogeneous. They do not have, their level of homogeneity is low compared to the Southwest. These things are very, very important in nation building, political stability, in landscapes. They also What do the Yoruba people want? We want state police restructuring. We just want to be Yoruba. We want a Yoruba land within Nigeria where nobody is going to be creating constitutional nuisance to us. There's nothing wrong. We want autonomy, federalism, restructuring, all those things, right? Yeah. Awoism, just like linguistic federalism. That is what we want. Other people might not want it. And we are not going to, we do not have the numbers to force it on other people. You can see, so this is why political seasons in Nigeria, especially for control, who controls Aso Rock, is not just election. It is a form of a war. It is a brutal struggle for who controls what. And Nepal is far more older than Nigeria. The Nepalization agenda is older than America as a country, more than 250 years ago. The disparate ethnicities, the disparate tribes in Nepal were united in 1768. And it was the Shah dynasty that did that. His name was Prithvi Naran Shah. Where the warring tribes, the warring kingdoms were unified into a single state, which you call Nepal. The etymology of that word is from Hinduism. Where did you get the Nigerian identity? These are the questions we need to ask ourselves. We've not even answered the fundamentals of nationhood. Some people are talking about revolution. So you're going to do a revolution to kill Yoruba leaders, and you're going to bring Wu, Igbos, or Fulanis. If you think Tinubu is not doing what you like best, what about if the Yoruba race nation within Nigeria, we like what he's talking about? He's talking about state police. He's talking about increasing resource revenue based on productivity. Those are the things Awoist wants to hear. Now, how do you now think those of us that are federalists, intellectuals, Awoists, are going to now join you and believe that you really have the interest of Nigeria at hand by bringing somebody like Agun Yunrosi that declared the unification decree, that was trying to use veto power and bullets to erase ethnic identity because he wants to create a Nigerian identity dominated by his own people? That's not a revolution. That is internal and local colonialism. This is why you have to think twice so that you don't jump from frying pan to fire. What was the reason for revolution in Nepal? Oh, they are fighting against corruption, fighting against corruption. It's not, it's just like you see the Nigerian obedient movement. Oh, we need to change Nigeria. Now, the kind of people, leaders you want to take over, are they not also from the ruling political elites? Why should you brand your own people as messiahs and tell us to kill our own? Because you want to claim that your own people are saints. That is why when many of us are saying, oh, okay, for instance, let me give you an instance. You saw what the Ben Kalu did, the deputy speaker. When he was trying to say, he was proposing a bill to legislate indigenous rights, that anybody that says 10 years here becomes indigenous. That is the one of the most bold, in the 21st century. That is one of the few places on earth where people are so bold to use pen, to be able to use pen, to try and use pen to steal the land of indigenous people and erase them from their land. Most of the Igbo leaders supported it. They were clapping for him because Igbos want more land. They don't understand the power of land. They believe land belongs to the gods. And out of the Wasobias, they have the least, in terms of land mass, they are the smallest. So anything that will give them any form of extra outside the Southeast, they will support it. But it's something, and because they are nomadic, they go over to look for more economic opportunities. Such a bill favors them. So if that is what you go and tell them, when we do, that's when you listen to them. Go to their spaces. Listen to them talk on television. They've been able to propagate Igbo interest as a form of national interest. But this is Igbo interest. How does this interest, how does it protect the advantage, the right of minorities? How does it protect the right of Yoruba people? Because we have the most economically stable and the most economically responsible, the most economically prosperous region in Nigeria. 3 out of 5 people wants to come to Yoruba people for greener pastures in Nigeria as a form of internal migration. So with that kind of a law, the Yoruba people will become a minority in our space within 50, 60 years. So because our leaders were socially responsible, trying to build a civilized and hospitable environment, a thriving society, which has attracted people that are fellow Nigerians that we cannot stop. What happens? The indigenous people of Yoruba land will be disenfranchised from political representation in their land because somebody made a law that when they stay in your land for 10 years, they become indigenous people. What happens? You have law. What happens? You're going to have war. You're going to have chaos. You're going to have anarchy. I'm not inciting, but this is what happens. Nigeria should learn from history. We have the case of Wari, where the Shekiris fought against the Robos and the Jaws because they are fighting for the protection of the ancestral land. What about in Jaws? When the indigenous people in Jaws were fighting against settlers that came in during the period of colonialism, during the period of tin mining, and they were fighting for who controls what in Jaws. What about in Southern Kaduna, in Sango Kataf? What about if Modakeke? This is between 2 Yoruba. This is even intra-ethnic. 2 Yoruba groups fought, killed themselves in thousands because of land. The same thing is also happening in the Southeast. From time to time, you see Agulu people killing themselves, wiping out themselves. We saw people from Ebonyi killed in Anambra. This is between 2 Igbos, within the Igbos. Let's now turn it to inter-ethnic. That is going to be a big conflagration. So there's no commonality of purpose. There's no accurate majority. There's no linguistic homogeneity. There's no spiritual homogeneity. So what kind of revolution are you talking about? The revolution that took place in Sudan, where Omar al-Bashir was overthrown, could never have happened could never have happened. The revolution that happened in Sudan could never have happened if South Sudan was still part of North Sudan. That revolution could have happened, could only happen because majority of the people in North Sudan were either Arabs or Arabized people, and the minorities had little or no political power. So these are the fundamentals why you have to understand why revolution cannot take place in Nigeria. Now, what is the way forward? I've spoken about the problems. I don't want to I know we yearn for change. We cannot continue this way. We want 24 hours electricity in Nigeria. We want our lands to be prosperous. We want things to work in Nigeria. Yeah, we all want that. That is why I believe in reformation instead of revolution. We should advocate for reformation instead of revolution. With reformation, we will be able to change the course of history. And what do we mean by reformation? Ethno-linguistic federalism. Let us define this Nigerian state. Autonomy, decentralization of power, protection of the rights of indigenous people, understanding Nigeria for what it is, and by making sure that some people do not hide under semantics like detribalization, patriotism, and all these things to create chaos within Nigeria, like what happened in 1966. And what the obedient movement is trying to do, or some political jobbers are trying to do. So revolution can only happen in an homogenized society where there is an outright majority. That's how revolution takes place. And that's why you see a lot of people are bringing in different ideas and all sorts of things in order to turn Nigeria into a melting pot. That's another conversation for another day, because I would never be part of those who believe that the use of genocide as a form of tool for nation building is justified. It is not justified. Because United Kingdom tried it and they failed. Sudan tried it and it failed. The days of empires are gone. And we need to look into the future. So you cannot have a case of Nepal in Nigeria. It's impossible. And anybody who tries such is only calling for more anarchy. Thank you very much. And I think I'm going to stop here to get a glass of water. Thank you so much. I'll now, this is the end of the lecture. It's now time for lectures and answers and questions. Thank you so much. May Lord Almighty continue to bless the entire Yoruba race. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀.
Thank you, Are. Thank you so much, Are, for the great lecture. We're very thankful. May God continue to give you wisdom and knowledge, and may you continue to come here to give us more great lectures. I'm going to call on Madam Ajoke Ade so she can start taking Q&A from space. Madam Ajoke Ade, are you there, ma?
I'm very much here. Thank you.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you. I can't see you on Zoom here. Can you please come on? All right, can take the stage now. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, like always. Thank you very much. Host, can you please bring people up?
Yes, there's no one requesting the mic yet.
I think we don't have anybody with mic. Or you can co-host me so that I can bring people up.
They look at me.
So please, if you'd like to come up, raise your hand so that I can bring you up. Fine. I'm not seeing any hand raised here. Ṣé ẹ fẹ́ bá wa dá sí ni? Madam Dabiri ẹ wà ń bẹ̀ ẹ máa bọ̀ lókè o.
Hello. Hello.
So, Mr. Alegbe, ẹ káàbọ̀. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Adúpẹ́ o, thank you so much. Ẹ ṣé gbogbo gbà o, thank you very much. Go ahead. Ẹ béèrè question, tẹ́ bá ní question ààrẹ wà pẹ̀lú yín.
Thank you so much. Now, on the sideline, the meeting that the bridge had concerning how they want to count the bank, and also they want to have a currency against the IMF. Now, what is going to be happening is most of the, almost like about 60% of these are the largest population in the world are in groups. My question is that if the groups finally have their bank and they have their currency, are we not going to be having an economic war between the dollar and whatever the country that will be coming on board? What is the trend line that we should be looking for?
Thank you so much. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
I get a question here. Did you get the question?
Ẹ káàbọ̀, Madam Mr. Alegbe. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀, gbogbo Àbújá ń kọ́ mo kí yín sà o, ẹ kú jọ́ mẹ́ta o. Ṣé ẹ bínú sí wa? Ẹ ṣé, ẹ kú, mo appreciate iṣẹ́ tẹ́ ẹ ṣe o. Olódùmarè á wà pẹ̀lú wa o, tẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ kó sú yín, tí ò jẹ́ kó rẹ̀ yín. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀ o, bàbá mi. What I think nípa ọ̀rọ̀ BRICS is that the BRICS is creating a parallel society. a parallel economic system. The greatest power of the Western world is not just in their superior ammunitions and guns. It's the hegemony they have when it comes to economic power. Until Europe, don't they understand in here? They started from the British to from the Dutch, then to the British, the French, then Germany, then America. But there are some countries of the world that have said they don't want to be like the West in terms of economic power, in terms of democracy, in terms of lifestyle. But they also want to be successful in terms of technology, in terms of modernity, railway, 24-hour electricity. And China has been able to prove it. Because before, if you especially during June 12th, they used to tell us, democracy, by Nigeria, Mada. Oh, we want democracy, want democracy, want democracy. But we've now realized that democracy is not equivalent to having prosperity. And China has shown that there is another roadmap to prosperity, not through Western democracy. And so many countries like the Arab world, the Arabs don't want to practice democracy because they know their people and they know it's against their fundamental civilization. Russia just wants to be Russia. North Korea wants to be North Korea. And there are some countries that believe that since they are not given equal, they are not on the table of the G7, the G5, of the big boys. They are not called to the table. They will go and create their own parallel system. And what is their parallel system? Their parallel system is to create their own economic parallel system that is sanction-proof, where there will be flow of goods and services. And they've looked at the situation of things. Number one, they have the highest population. These people in the global south, they have the numbers. China, Russia, Brazil, India, on their own, is almost 3 billion people. That is almost half of the population, 1/3 of the population of the world. So China has the technological capacity. China has the manufacturing capacity. China has the technical know-how. There is nothing, no technology you want to use to bully China. There is nothing you have in China, you have in the West that you can't have 10 times in China. Just think of it, they will do it. And China is also preparing for the inevitable, because China has become a superpower and it understands that they will surely come for him. So what are they doing? They are preparing a sanction-proof economic system where no Western power will be able to cripple them. So that's why you have BRICS. And I think this is the beginning of a multipolar world order. That's why I talk about the importance of economic power. It is the economic power within that the Yoruba people have. That is why we are politically relevant in Nigeria. We do not dominate the military. When it comes to voting in bloc, our people don't vote in bloc. Because we do not understand the importance of groupnomics when it comes to a political power. And we need to understand why these things are very important. So that is why you have BRICS. My fingers are still crossed because I'm not going to make, I'm not a communist, I'm not a socialist, and I have to be very careful. TYF is all over the world. We are registered across the world, both in BRICS nation and not BRICS nation. So I can only talk academically on this issue. I'm not going to choose a side. Eshe, I hope you understand me, sir. Eshe Pupo.
All right, thank you so much. Eshe Gan. Mr. Aregbe, ṣe down yẹn okay pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ àbí you have other question?
Yeah, I have spoken quite elaborate, but now you have North Korea leaving his country for the first time, trying to come together with the BRICS power and all that. So me, I appreciate what you just said now, Aaron. But tẹ́ bá wo nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀, tẹ́ bá wo nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀, like the rightly said, the sanctions that America is just using just to slow down all the career. Like just stamping on nations like India, like Russia, does not even have a significant effect on those countries. And I'm going to look at it in this way that if successfully, America did not play their politics right, and successfully did not do that, I'm telling you, sir, we are going to have a little slide in the American dollar that is going to collapse the economic system. And now, what we are going to what is that what will we do? Is it what President Tinubu has shown? That is why it's implementing this reformation to prepare Nigeria against this shortfall. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very, very much. If you observe, there is something that Tinubu has successfully done. And that thing is that Tinubu has is trying to change the balance of trade and the trading partners that Nigeria has. Number one, you saw him going to Brazil. Brazil is an agricultural powerhouse in the world. And there's a lot of similarities between Brazil and some parts of Nigeria, especially the Yoruba-speaking part of Nigeria. And we are both, Nigeria and Brazil, we are both Atlantic power. So why are we not trading together? Flight from Brazil to Lagos is just one way, straightforward. You don't need to, just 6 hours straight down to Lagos, just across the Atlantic Ocean. So why are we not trading together? Brazil supplies most of the world's corn, wheat, many of the advances you have in science and in agriculture, in agricultural biotechnology. Apart from that, Brazil is also a it's also a petrochemical and petrogas power. So why are we not trading together? That's number one. Number two, if you observe, there was a news a few days ago, I read it, that if you want to buy anything from China now, you don't need to convert it to dollars. You can take your Naira and pay in Naira and get anything you want to get from China. So if you look at the balance, so the world is already finding its level. Naira has been floated. So the real value of naira is now 1,500 naira. So you up to $1. So it is stable. So you can trade with it at the international market. So most of the people, so Chinese, so most of, I mean, if you look at most of the products we use in Nigeria, it's coming from China. Most of the day-to-day house chores, electronics, and other things, spare parts now coming from China. So this has shown that countries are now looking for ways to bypass the dollar hegemony. Now, we must not deceive ourselves. We saw that why the sanctions against China, against Russia failed. Russia, without much argument, is one of the most sanctioned countries on the surface of the earth. But Russia has not collapsed. Russia is still selling its oil. Russia is still selling its gas. Russia is selling oil to India in rupees. It is selling oil to China in yuan. But all these powerful countries, they are settling their trades. They are trading their trade deficit surplus in their local currencies. So it's already happening in our faces. So because if a currency is powerful, Nigeria has the population, Nigeria has the market. So Chinese sellers and Chinese, they are very comfortable in buying, in selling in naira, in selling their goods and services in naira. That even if they sell their goods and services in naira, they know they can even convert it to get back yuan. It is willing buyer, willing seller. It is no longer, oh, we don't have enough dollar in order to be able to convert your naira. So that's why for the past 2 years, I spoke a lot about the multipolar world order. The multipolar world order, things are gradually changing. The world is gradually changing. Everybody, the world has been decentralized. It is no longer a unipolar world order anymore, because there is also another economic power. That is why economic power is the most important power. That is why every single Yoruba man and woman must defend and protect Lagos. Let them call you by God. Let them call you all sorts of names. That is the price. If that is the price this generation has to pay to protect Lagos and Ogun or your corridor, where we control the economy in that place, the Yoruba people must control the economy of that place. And how do you control it? You control the political power, because it is the political power that you can be able to ensure that your economic power is domesticated. May Olodumare continue to help us. I love that question. Thank you so much, Mr. Alegbele. It's nice having a chat with you again, sir.
Thank you, too, sir. Thank you, too. Someone else can go on, please.
Ààrẹ ẹ ṣeun gan, like always. Ní anybody tó tún fẹ́ bá wa dá sí ní orí X. Do we have any other? From the look of it, ó dàbẹ̀ ní pé ní wíìkì yìí, àwọn èèyàn wa fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ sí topic tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí. Also, a lè pè wọlé ẹni tó bá fẹ́ bá wa dá sí discussion yìí, because your opinion really had a value to the conversation. So if you're not on X, you can call into 090 105 75 121. 090 105 75-121. But that will be caller from Nigeria.
They can also call from, it's a WhatsApp number.
No, I mean, okay.
They can call from anywhere in the world. I think we have Madam Dabiri on stage.
Okay, yeah. But the number is Nigerian number.
Yeah, but they can call it on WhatsApp.
Of course, I mean, you can call anywhere
can
from
call
the
on
world.
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, yeah. Madam Dabiri Shewambe. Yes, ma'am.
Revolutions from across different parts of the world and the results from this revolution. Imagine Nepal ṣẹlẹ̀, mo ti ń wò pé àwọn ọmọ Brazil wọ́n máa tún bẹ́ síbẹ̀ pé táwọn ṣe rú ẹ̀. Ẹ wò ó, mi ò mọ agbẹ́nu mi dákẹ́. Àbí pé àwọn security agencies wa wọn ò ṣiṣẹ́ wọn. Because there are a lot of threats in this app. Wọ́n ṣe against government. Ṣé democracy làwọn ń ṣe tó tó yẹn? Ẹ máa sọ nǹkan tó jẹ́ pé ẹ mọ̀ pé ó ìdájọba ló lè tàbí ẹ̀dẹ̀ máa pè ní freedom of speech. Yóò ṣe freedom of speech. Why would a Nigerian say that Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí irú revolution ibẹ̀ yẹn kó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí bíbá? We are not the same like them, like you have explained to us. Ṣé revolution wo ni ará South East fẹ́ gbé fún mi? Mi ò yà ọ̀jẹ̀ mi níbi tí mo wà ń bí báyìí. Àwọn náà lé kúrò níbi tó wà. Àwọn náà sá kúrò níbi wọn. Wọn ò lé mi kúrò níbi tí mo wà ń bí báyìí. So, like you said, what we want from this federation, they are different. And it's based on our ethnicity, on our history, what we have been through. In táwọn ṣe yẹn, àwa ti kọjá yẹn ti pẹ́. Gbogbo ohun tí Yorùbá níjà àti jà àti wá padà di ẹyọ kan. Ẹyọ kan tá a fẹ́ dì yẹn gan-an ni wàhálà tó dé bá wọn sìn. Wọn ò fẹ́ ká dé ẹyọ kan. Wọ́n fẹ́ kí Ẹ̀gbá wà ń bẹ̀ kó máa bá Èkìtì jà. Èkìtì máa bá Ìbàdàn fà. That's the thing they want. And could it happen? Revolution yẹn, like the topic said, feasibility in Nigeria. Kò lè feasible lo. Bọ̀ká tó lè sọ yẹn pé kò lè feasible. Àwọn tó ń ṣèjọba nílẹ̀ tí ọ̀dọ̀ tí wọ́n ń bí báyìí. Láti nílẹ̀ Yorùbá tá a mọ̀ tó wà Southwest wọ́n láti wà vigilant because tí àwọn irú wàhálà yẹn bá fẹ́ ṣẹlẹ̀ one stupid statement or one stupid somebody ló máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ àwọn èèyàn adẹ̀ tí inú àti kú lọ so ojúlọ alákànfin ṣọ́rí aláti máa kíyèsára àwọn ìjọba wa náà dẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ máa kíyèsára ayé fine boy and fine I will listen to you later. I will listen to you later. I have fine ẹ̀dá máa ń ṣe fine people ọmọlúwàbí ó ti kọjá survival well and so. So ẹnu bá ní ọ̀rọ̀ revolution sínú pápá náà ẹ̀rù. Revolution náà kan náà bá dé bìdínkù 1966 tó jẹ́ pé àwọn aráàlú mìíràn àwọn ara wọn kò lè work in a multilingual place like Nigeria. The can-do revolution cannot happen here. But they will try o. But ó yẹ káwọn àwọn tán wà ní ìjọba ń bí wọn láti wà very very vigilant because ìtara vigilance ni o láwa gan-an ni nǹkan tẹ̀tí ẹ̀ fi ń ṣakọ yẹn táwọn bá ba nǹkan jẹ́ ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ ẹnu yẹn rọ̀ òun náà ṣe ní ẹ̀ǹsà àṣẹwó bọ́sì kan tó ń gbà yẹn ara jẹ́ ń ta mí báyìí ni fàdé ó wà di following week wọ́n ní we stayed at the bus stop no àwọn ò rí transport mo ní pẹ́ ẹ pé ó máa fẹsẹ̀ ó pẹ́ ìtọ́ ṣe fún yín kẹ́ lè fi ìbínú hatred jealousy wọ́n dẹ̀ jó àwọn buses yẹn ní òyìnbó ọ̀tá ajé ni wọ́n o but we must have it in mind pé adẹ́tẹ̀ ni wọ́n wọn ò lè fún wàrà but wọ́n lè dá wàrà mi So ariwo tá à ń pa iná ni ká máa pa. Tí àwọn tá a yàn síbẹ̀ tí wọ́n bá di nígbà tó bá pẹ́ tá a ti ń pariwo. Wọ́n máa fi dàbí àwọn wíńdò inú Bíbù tó ń lo adájọ́ lẹ́nu gbà pé adájọ́ ní jẹ́ kí n dá lóhùn kóbìnrin tí ẹ lè jẹ́ ìsinmi. So ariwo yẹn àní jẹ́ kàn sí mi o. As long as ó jẹ́ pé ìbò wa náà ló gbé wọn débẹ̀, they must listen to us. Ẹ ṣe nǹkan tí mo kàn fẹ́ contribute yẹn, ẹ ṣe.
Ẹ ṣeun gan ma, thank you so much. Ẹ ṣe kú gbogbo gbà. Ẹ rí sọ, ẹni tó bá fẹ́ ṣe revolution, kọ́ máa lọ sí agboolé bàbá wọn kọ́ lọ ṣe revolution bẹ́ẹ̀. Kò ń ṣe orílẹ̀ títí wa náà tún máa ṣe. Kó ní kálukú lọ sí agboolé bàbá ẹ̀ kó lọ ṣe revolution. Your mama's firstborn, please take the mic.
Hello. Am I audible?
Loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Okay, yes. Ekale, Yelito, Ekale, Are. Ekale, everyone. So, Sherry, nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ Nepal yìí, ìgbà tó ṣẹlẹ̀ yẹn, I wasn't really online like that because mi ò stable, I was on the move. So, but I was seeing comment. So I was on Instagram then. Tí bá lọ sórí page, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention it because it's a radio station, so I don't. Tí bá lọ sórí page, àwọn page kan lórí Instagram, like especially that today, I would just be seeing comment pé this is what should be happening in Nigeria right now. If kìnìkan máa kọ́ máa rí all sort of. Ṣé I don't understand. Irú báwo ìwọ ṣe máa ìwọ tó ní pé ẹ fẹ́ jẹ́ kí Nàìjíríà dà wá ti máa ní pé look, if you want revolution, lọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ilé bàbá ẹ̀. Tó bá ti dáná sun ilé bàbá ẹ̀, tó dáná sun ilé ìyá ẹ̀, ẹ ti dáná sun gbogbo ara yín ní káwá wọlé tó wá kù. Ẹ lè máa ké revolution ń zọ̀bú ní ilé ìbá ẹlẹ́rìí kò ní ìyá àdéhùn. Ìyá ò jẹ mí. So, but these are just senseless, headless people. Bàrà àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá mi náà wá dẹ̀ tán ìmọ̀ ní pé ẹlòmíì tí ò bá ń ṣe pé kí ni ẹlòmíì gan bóyá kò jẹ́ ń ṣe ọmọ Yorùbá gan tó dẹ́gbẹ́ bí àwọn ewu tó kọ̀ kó wá láti ìkan tó kọ̀ dẹ́gbẹ́ padà wá assimilate mọ́ Yorùbá ni màá kọ́ gbà. Ṣé bàbá tẹ̀yìn ò kẹ́yìn lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ní sẹ́yìn ò lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lé ní ìlú tó jẹ́ wípé ibẹ̀ ló ti iṣẹ́ tó ti ń jẹun òun mú mi ìlú yẹn ó wá ní kí gbogbo ẹ̀ bàjẹ́. But like ààrẹ ṣe máa ń sọ this is just social engineering ìjọba rí pé nǹkan tí àwọn nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ ń bẹ̀ social ó ti kó látara church ní àbí látara mọ́ṣáláṣí tó tọrọ ní àbí látara nǹkan tó lọ ní tó jẹ́ pé he believes that we are one Nigeria, àwọn là ń practice one Nigeria dùn. Nǹkan tá à lè ṣe ní ọ̀dọ̀ wọn àwọn ń ṣe bíbáyìí tá à ń gbára gbà. Wọ́n gbogbo yẹn ti dópin báyìí o. Tó bá fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ revolution lọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ní bàbá ẹ̀ èèyàn kan lè wá máa halẹ̀ mọ́ wa ní bíbáyìí. So gbogbo bí màmá Dábìlì ṣe jọ sọ bí màmá ṣe sọ adẹ́tẹ̀ ni wọ́n lè fún wàrà ṣùgbọ́n wọ́n lè dá wàrà but wàrà bàbá wọn náà lọ́ọ́ lè dá mi mo ń ṣe wàrà bàbá tèmi. So ẹ wo kò sí kankan bẹ́ẹ̀ àti wà lẹ́nu ẹ̀ báyìí tó bá fẹ́ jẹ́ revolution kọ́ lọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ látọ̀dọ̀ wọn ọmọ Yorùbá ni wá mi ò nílé òyìnbó mo ń lọ pé mo ní ìlú bòmíì tí n fẹ́ lọ Harmony náà ní padà sọ fún mi gbà ẹ̀yà ìwọ náà máa padà sí ẹ̀ náà ìwọ náà àlejò máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní everywhere náà. So ibi tí mo ti lè lálàáfíà lélẹ̀ ní ilẹ̀ bàbá tèmi kí ilé sọ mí ó dùn bóyá lọ kí mo jẹ bàmí kí mo jẹ àmàlà kí mo jà kí àtàwọn ọmọ mi dẹ̀ máa wà ókè. So ní ọ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan máa ṣe kó máa halẹ̀ gìgìgì àgàràgàrà mọ́ wa pé bá gbé wá àwa ó gbé bàjẹ́ times 5 times 10. So bó jẹ́ bó ṣe wà nìyẹn oníkálukú ló kó lọ rẹ ọkàn tó kàn ń para ẹni akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ pa ẹ̀yìn ayé lọ́rùn lò kò sí nǹkan kan tó máa ṣẹlẹ̀. Ẹ wo ẹ ṣe gbọ́dọ̀ ààrẹ so ayé ìdí máa ti kọ́ tí ọlọ́run ṣàánú fún gbogbo wa náà ni. All right, there should go.
Thank you so much. Ẹ ṣé. Àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá náà wọ́n ti gbọ́ yín. Ẹni tó bá máa ṣe revolution kán lọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ látẹnu lé bàbá wọn. Omi ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò ní dàrú láṣẹ Èdùmàrè. The peace builder. Kí ẹ wà ń bẹ̀. You like to make submission, you have questions. Peace builder, are you there? Okay, I think he's not there.
Binder. Peace Binder, you there? I don't think he's there.
He's there. So, quick announcement. Please follow us. Follow our SM platform. Don't forget to visit our website. Darapọ̀ mọ́ wa, Think Yoruba First .org. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. A lè dá ṣe o. Tí ò bá ń ṣe ẹ̀yin kò sáwà. So, and we're grateful for being there. À ń wá síbí ẹ̀yin là ń bá. Ẹ ṣé gan o, a dúpẹ́ o. Host.
Okay. As she had said, ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Our website is www.thinkyourself.org. And to join, you can take advantage of our marketplace of Oja. I think it's on Omoluabi. You can buy one or two things from our store online, and then we can also check out our online library where you can read books on Paolo. And also the 3 billion vote campaign is still going on. Ẹ jọ̀wọ́, tẹ́ bá dé àwọn èèyàn tó ṣe clock 18 years old, tó ṣe pé 18 years, àbí àwọn tí wọ́n ti dìbò rí, ẹ jọ̀wọ́, ẹ bá wa sọ fún wọn pé wọ́n register for voters card wọn. That's the number we put up here for calls. We know the number. Ellie said number. Ellie said as WhatsApp is the number here. About down see in real time, and they saw she process getting your PVC and all of that. And also you can follow us on our social media handles on X, on TikTok, on Facebook, and on Instagram, where we put information and a daily news and updates on anything Yoruba. And we are glad that you are here. I do not know if our president and speaker for tonight has the last word before we close the space. All right.
All right, it's done for tonight. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight.
I was even thinking maybe people internally also have questions. Madam Aidoke, please, we need questions.
Already.
You can even send your question in as well on X or on Zoom. Ellie, send in question you so that we can read it out. So by the mic, please.
Okay, I have a question. All Can you hear me?
Please go ahead. Loud and clear, loud and clear. Go ahead.
Since you've established that a revolution often brings chaos and possibly foreign interference, How can Yoruba land pursue true sovereignty without falling into the trap of instability?
Okay, thank you. That's a very brilliant question. Very, very brilliant question. And I will try and answer in the next 5 minutes. One, we need to ensure that the Yoruba populace is very intelligent and educational and politically educated. Now, if you look at, there's a particular essay now, Idris Alegbe, that just gave one useless answer. He said Lagos is a cultural melting pot. I don't think he understands what he said. And this person, this individual, this guy, this young man is occupying an office that is meant to gatekeep, protect, self-preserve, empower, fortified Yoruba identity and power. So the first thing we need to do is to continue on this crusade. And that's why I'm so grateful to the entire team that God has given us in Think Yoruba First organization. Now this conversation has been taken beyond just Twitter space. We are now on Facebook, we are on YouTube, we are streaming on TYF Park, we are streaming on Think Yoruba First proper handle. And by God's grace, we are also going to be streaming on TYF Radio, and we're also going to be streaming on YouTube by the special on TikTok and Instagram. So we need to engage in a massive education of our populace. Our people, we are Western educated, true. We can brag of having masters, PhD, but when it comes to native intelligence, a lot of the youths between the age of 25 to 45, they are walking time bomb for the Yoruba race. They are educated, they are technocrats, they can administer, but they lack fundamental basic reality of Nigeria. In fact, they are ready to sacrifice the power of the Yoruba race. What actually gives us power in Nigeria, they are ready to sacrifice it because they are naive, because they are going to be the fundamental first casualty of this problem. And unfortunately, these guys will just run away and leave the rest of us here. So we need to first, in order to be able to have that cultural sovereignty, whether within Nigeria or anywhere where we are in the world, we need to have an educated society. You look at the Jos, you look at the Yorubos, you look at Arewa, you look at the Igbos, even the Middle Belt, they fundamentally, they understand Nigeria. So you look at Kogi State, for instance. Even the Birana are now politically powerful. Why the Yoruba people do not even know their left from their right? They've been politically subjugated, even though they are a powerful majority and they are being ruled by minorities. You know why? Because they have a politically educated, the other ethnicities are politically educated than them. So we first need to properly educate our youths. For the past 4 years, it's been a very, very difficult job. Now we are happy. There are thousands of people listening to us. They now understand the concept of Think Yoruba First. And we hope that people like Idris Alegbe, he should listen to this. God will continue to make people like him minorities in Yoruba land. A day is coming very, very soon. Like traitors like that will not have the means to speak and represent us. Because this is, but why should you are not a government, you are not a federal government appointee, for God's sake, be talking about diversity in your ancestral homeland? Where is this madness coming from? Where is this neoliberal leftist madness coming from? Why should we pander to people who have no regard for us? That is why our youth, a lot of our youth, have taken to full-blown extremism, because that is the only word that our political elite listen to. They don't listen to words of intellectualism. They don't. They see intellectuals as idiots. So they will pander to anybody panderable because they are ideologically bereft. So this is one of the things you talk, because you cannot conquer a people that are enlightened. You cannot conquer a people that know their history. You cannot conquer a people that know what they are doing in Nigeria. Idris, Voxy Populi, Voxy Deyi. Idris Alegbe, listen to me. The Yoruba people will defend Lagos with our blood. You can do the rubbish you're doing with that lady because she has big, she's endowed front and back. I'm saying this on here. But what I'm telling you is that the Yoruba youths of 2025 are getting better and better, and we are surely going to do the needful. So it's political and cultural enlightenment. That's the fundamental. Every other thing is a waste of time. So once you do that, the wrong demography will not weaponize and hijack the urban nationalism for chaos.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We have one more speaker who has come up. The Wise. You have the mic. The Wise. If the Wise is not there, Lona, you can speak. Lona.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. As a matter of fact, I have been hearing about this particular movement from my twin brother who happened to also be on this call. And sincerely, I have been disturbing him for the past months that I would like to join this class of intellectuals, especially people from my own tribe who are intellectually sound like this and politically and culturally oriented. And it is my pleasure to be on this particular platform and to be with each and every one of you. I quickly want to share something. We are Yorubas, and in the issue of Nigerian politics, Yoruba has been doing very well. We have been doing so well, and I would say the fact that we are even doing well is enough to attract haters, to attract rebels from different angles. There is a particular issue that has been coming up. I've been seeing it on Facebook, I've been seeing it on Twitter, I've been seeing it across all platforms, whereby they've been, trying to incorporate what happened at Nepal into Nigeria. Well, to them, I know that the people who are propagating that kind of stupid propaganda, I know that they are unrepentant souls. But particularly for the Yorubas, I don't want us to join in any movement against our country. This is the point. We are Yorubas. We have top cities. Now let me even draw us back to something. During the NSAS movement, when we were blindly supporting these people, following them. Now, in our own Yoruba state, they were destroying things. In Lagos, in Ondo State, they destroyed banks. In Osun State, in Oyo State, in the different Yoruba states, a lot of things were being destroyed. How many things did you hear that was destroyed in Imo, in Abia, in Enugu, in Anambra, which is in their own state? So I think this calls us, the Yorubas, to think and see beyond the manipulation of these people. When I joined this call, I overheard somebody saying somebody like Tunde Head Note. That it is a fool. I'm not sorry to say, is a fool. Is an unrepentant soul. Because if we support violence in our own country, majority of this violence will land on the head of we the Yorubas. If they are going for any protest like the one they did in Nepal, their target is in Lagos. Let us not lie to ourselves. The target has always been Lagos. When Ojukwu started the civil war during that time in 1967, the target was Lagos. They knew that Lagos is a strong powerhouse. So if they succeeded in destroying, in ruining Lagos, if they succeeded in making Lagos collapse, all other Yoruba states collapsed. So that wrong ideology should be corrected amidst us, the Yorubas, because we cannot afford to lose. Yoruba people, àwọn Yorùbá máa ń sọ nǹkan kan, wọ́n á sọ pé kò yẹ ká máa pẹ̀lú ọ̀bọ jáwúrà. That word is very, very deep for all Yorubas who are intellectually sound. Ká má jẹ́ kí àwọn ọmọ akódilétà wọ́n wá bà nǹkan tí à ń ṣiṣẹ́ láti tún ṣe. We should be very, very, very careful. Movements like that are the kind of movements that does not help the country to go. I don't support violence. And as Yoruba, our culture does not support violence. Because of what point it is. Now, look at the people in Nepal now, when they don't have sense now. If they succeeded in ruining their country, now, the economy of the country will collapse. The people who are there, maybe people who came in around, who are migrants from other countries, who came in search of greener pastures there, they will leave the country. The country will be left in a state of desolate. The country will be deserted because that fear of people coming in, investing, doing business there, that fear will always be there. And if we allow that kind of a thing to happen to us in Nigeria, we will be ruined beyond words. This is not because a Yoruba person is the president. When Buhari was there, we supported him. When anyone who says they want to be governor, now in the history of Nigeria now, I looked around now. In the history of Nigeria, we've only had 2 presidents. That is Obasanjo and the current Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In the history of Nigeria, the Igbos, they have produced 2 head of state. Then Thompson, Thomas Aguiyi-Ironsi. It's from there. The first ceremonial president of the country, the first Senate president of the country is from there. So what are we making a fuss about? If you want your candidate to be president, it is good. Everybody wants people to come, people with ideas, but we don't do that by violence. We won't do that by ruining other people's place. We don't do that by ruining other people's home. I've seen videos of people from their own side saying things like, go to Lagos. Yes, if they're not doing anything, kill them. If they do anyhow to you, you should fight them. Kill them. I know they can never succeed with something of such. Because the Yorubas, I believe that we are always on guard. We don't lose guard. But please, our future is in our hands. The future of the country has always lied within the Yoruba system, the Yoruba political system. Please, as youth from Yoruba, please let us behave ourselves. That is why I am very, very happy that this kind of knowledge or center is being organized for us to learn wisdom. Because if we don't learn, most of the people, most of those idiots supporting them, leave them. Yorùbá máa ń sọ nǹkan tá a bá fi ilé wa, tá a bá fi ẹ̀dẹ̀ wa sílẹ̀, tá a lọ sí ẹ̀dẹ̀ wa náà là máa padà sí. Now, if they succeeded in destroying their own home, maybe they will go back to Anambra or go back to Abia. I said in Abia. I mean, the level of insecurity over there is like it's not something we could even talk about. As a youth corper in last year, I was running Etasketa. Maybe I don't know, maybe I think when they said no government, they are around. Or no government, they are around like this. I picked my slippers, the one I went to school. I was running. Their economy is crumbling because of their self-imposed sit at home. Sometimes maybe it could be a working day, they will not tell you 3 days, nobody should come outside. We'll be inside that corpus lodge. Nothing. We will be hungry, there is nowhere to buy food. It's only if we have been aware beforehand that we have decided to buy our things. So please, as Yoruba people, we don't want to suffer the same fate as them. Àgékù ejò ni tó ń ṣòro. You understand? Àgékù ejò ó máa ń ṣòro ni. So and we, our òkìṣà àgékù ejò, ẹ jọ̀ọ́, ẹ má jẹ́ ká máa join àwọn akutilétà, àwọn ọmọ àlè Yorùbá tó ń sọ rádaràda. Please and please, thank you so very much. And please, this kind of this TYF, please. I don't know if there is a branch in Ondo State. I would like to be part of the branch. I would like to be an active member, not just a member, an active member, and I would like to be working hands in hands with them. If there is any in Ondo State, please, I would like to be part. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you so much. We have a branch in Ondo. A contact email join link Think Yoruba First org. So from there, I'm a direct you see Ondo.
I'm coming. Shemole, coming.
I come in, Are.
Thank you
You
so
have the
much.
mic.
I think Madam Kara, Madam Kweju.
Mwambi, sir. Mwambi.
Okay. Ẹ jẹ́ bá wa fún wọn ní number branches. As if I knew that was going to happen. So if one need pay and tell them, I think you should just give an overview. So, Madam Ajoke Ade, we've simplified the joining process for TYF. So at any official TYF number, even we have an official number in America, official number for Europe, we have an official number in Nigeria. Strictly anywhere in the world, just WhatsApp those numbers, they will respond. So we have TYF in Ondo, we have TYF in Ekiti, we have TYF in Edo, we have TYF in Delta, we have TYF in Abuja, we have TYF in Kogi, and we have Think Yoruba First organization in Kwara, we have in Lagos, we have in Ogun, we have in Osun, we have in Oyo, and we have in Benin Republic, we have in Togo, we have in Cote d'Ivoire, we have in Ghana, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Burkina Faso. Then we have in Europe. We are also in Asia. We are in Japan. If you're in Qatar, I think I'm the best to really answer that question, to start say where your TYF branches are all over. We are working on having our branch in Australia very soon, and New Zealand, and there's TYF Brazil, there's TYF Latin America, there's TYF Canada, there's TYF United States of America, there's TYF Mexico. Hopefully there will be TYF Cuba very soon. We are working with our partners over there. We are strictly tentatively all over the world. If you don't be surprised if you see TYF Kano, Kaduna tomorrow. Don't be surprised at all. And we are trying to ensure that we have the biggest and the most powerful Yoruba community all over the world. So we are really, really grateful that God has really been with us. Hey, Joshua, let me phone number.
Yeah, the WhatsApp number to call us on live here.
I have sent.
Oh.
Okay,
the number is 234 901 057 5121.
234. +234.
Yes.
00234
901 057 5121.
It's also in the comment section. Oh, and the comment section X.
Oh, it's in the pack comment section. It's on
Yeah.
the TY main channel comment section. It's on Facebook comment section. It's on YouTube comment section. Please save this number and call us next week on our live lecture. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you for joining us for this great lecture from the president of TYF, Mr.
So sorry for interrupting. I think we should talk about our market space.
Oh, market space, yes.
Our projects, please.
Yes, you can
and our
visit
mission.
us. You can visit us on our website, www.thinkyourabafirst, and visit our marketplace place and our shop. We have projects. We have projects such as our geopolitics class, Yoruba languages. We have pages you can follow, like our geopolitics page on Twitter. We also have all our chapter pages on Twitter, which you can follow. We have the TYF Ondo Ekiti. We have TYF Kogi and Kwara. We have TYF Lagos. We have TYF Ogun. We have TYF Edo and Delta. You should join us and follow us on also the TYF Worldwide. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Once again, we hope to see you next week in good health, with sound mind, and with a lot of Z for the next lecture. Thank you so much, and good night.